welcome back to my channel. So this is part 3 of my how to widen your wind range series. Make sure that you check out also part 1 and part 2. I've received such amazing feedback from those 2 videos where I have explained in more depth what exactly lift is, how to generate lift, how to rail the board, and all the fine-tuned settings that is vital in widening your wind range with limited sail sizes. Today I'm going to cover everything you need to know about sail twist, how twist affects your performance on the water, and how to manipulate the twist in the sail to take on different kinds of conditions with the same sail size. One of the questions that I'm going to cover as well, which popped up, is how to differentiate between the 2 clue hole settings, the top hole and the bottom hole. So make sure you subscribe to my channel below if you are enjoying my videos and to stay up to date with all my coming videos. So when I'm referring to sail twist, this is definitely applicable to free ride sails and race sails, even wave sails. So in order to understand exactly what twist is, I'm first going to explain to you guys what is referred to as the leech of the sail. This is the boom and this is the mast on that side. So when I am talking about the leech of the sail, it is basically when you draw a straight line from your clew towards the head of the mast. Everything on this side, this whole section, is referred to as the leech of the sail. So if you have to fold it, that section of the sail is going to be what moves, what opens up, and what twists. The bigger the leech, the more twist you have in the sail. So the 2 clue holes I'm referring to are these 2 holes in this bottom part of the sail that is situated underneath where the boom is attached. No twist is happening at this area, only from where the boom is attached towards the top. So that explains well why using either the top or the bottom hole will have an impact on the amount of twist in the sail. If you look on videos and photos of yourself sailing, you'll find that your leech opens up. Even if you've rigged your sail and you step onto the mast, let it lift off the sand, you'll see how that top part of the sail opens up into a spiral shape. This aspect of your sail is extremely important for its performance. There's basically 2 reasons for sail twist. The first one is as your sail twists and opens up and you get power from the wind, say you are sailing in strong heavy gusts or overpowered conditions, the twisting action of a sail causes you to depower. So the wind funnels up out of the twist and it basically causes a very smooth feel, smooth ride. When the gust hits you, it doesn't hit you like full on and you catapult. You don't feel out of control. It gives it a lot of a softer feel. So a twist is a really important aspect to keep in mind when you rig your sail. It has a massive impact on the way that you can handle certain conditions. And this is also why it's super important to use the correct mast with the correct bending curve for your sail brand. So when you use a softer mast or an apex mast, you'll find that as you are sailing, the top part of the sail will bend open. Having a softer mast at the top section especially helps to encourage the twist for that control that you want. If you use a very stiff mast, which is not made for the exact shape and profile of the sail, you won't be getting that soft feel and forgiveness about your sail in high wind and gusty conditions where you really need the sail to open up and twist. The more downhaul that you pull, the more twist you will have, the more the sail will open up and the more that leech will become loose. This is why in really strong wind conditions, you downhaul your sail to the maximum in order to gain control and to help depower some of that heavy forces. Together with creating extra twist in the sail by downhauling your sail more, the profile also becomes tight and slightly flatter at the belly. That also helps to depower the sail. But when you are sailing in light wind conditions, you would want less of an opening of your leech. So then you would downhaul your sail slightly less. And also that creates a slightly bigger belly at the bottom of the sail. Your sail will open up less. The leech will be tighter so that you've got more stability and power in lighter wind conditions. The second reason why twist in a sail is really important is because it prevents the upper part of the sail from stalling. The wind angle at the top of the sail is different than at the bottom of the sail. This difference is because of a wind gradient that exists and causes wind strength to be less near the surface of the water and stronger towards the top part of the sail. So therefore the bottom part of your sail will experience more apparent wind due to the lighter winds at the bottom. This apparent wind comes from the direction in which your board is traveling, whereas the top part of your sail feels more of the true wind direction. If the top part of your sail was set with no twist, the airflow would not stay attached to the surface of your sail, and the flow would then stop or stall, which would have detrimental effects on the whole sail. So therefore a sail that has no twist or too little twist is a lot less aerodynamically efficient. Due to the fact that the wind angle widens the higher you go up the sail, that is why the biggest twist would be located at the top part of the sail. So what is the difference between depowering and stalling of your sail? The section of the sail that is twisting still has got airflow attached to it, but it produces less aerodynamic lift force. So that refers to the depowering of a sail, whereas stalling means the flow is not attached and that part of the sail is producing no aerodynamic lift. So you'll find that in the clew of the sail there's two holes. You've got the top clew hole and the bottom clew hole. If you had to use the bottom clew hole, this will have the sail open up a lot more. It will have a lot more twist. The leech will be a lot looser. This is the hole that one would use when it's really strong winds, gusty conditions, overpowering conditions, or if you're a really light sailor and you don't want all that power in the sail. By using the bottom clew hole, you allow for the sail to open up more, it will have more twist and you will have more control in strong winds, but you will have slightly less power in doing so. So the higher you would attach your boom to the sail, the less area twist it will have, whereas on the lower setting, a bigger section of the sail will twist, which gives you more control and less power. So especially for the windsurfers who are light in weight, or for instance, for the guys who do wave sailing, it's very beneficial if you are wave sailing and you don't want to be overpowered on a wave. So the top hole setting in the clew, that will keep the sail from opening up as much as the bottom clew hole would. So you will have slightly less twist, which gives you more power. The sail won't open up so much, so it will keep a lot of the power in the sail. So when you're sailing really light wind conditions, underpowered on wave gear, underpowered on slalom gear, or you're sailing in a place that's got lots of holes and inconsistent winds, being in the top hole is your sweet spot. So I personally prefer to have my clew setting at the top hole in all my race sails, because especially when I'm training, because I want all that power in the sail, especially when racing, maximum power is always the priority then for me. Only with wave sailing and really high wind conditions, I would consider moving it down to the lower clew setting. So now that you guys know exactly how to use these two clew settings and the downhaul and sail twist for sailing performance and widening your wind range, you can now apply this when rigging your sail. So the first important thing that I do before I set my outhaul is I downhaul the sail, because you'll find that the downhaul tension and the outhaul tension is exactly related to each other. When you put in more downhaul on the sail, you'll find that your outhaul becomes loose as the sail pulls tight and opens up towards the top to twist more. So first up, set your downhaul where you want it to be and then go to your outhaul. So when you are on the beach and you set your outhaul, you don't have wind power in your sail, so your sail can't really set into its proportions and its position. So you'll find that you'll have to loosen your outhaul to a point where it's almost touching quite a big section of the boom, because when you actually get onto the water and you sail, wind will push more into the left side of the sail, and this will push the sail into its shape and release the sail from the boom that it was touching on due to that looser outhaul. So first get up on the water, hook in, get onto full power and look at your sail. See where it touches the boom. If it touches a big section of your boom and it's pressing, you'll find you'll have a lot of backhand pressure. Then definitely pull in a little bit more of your outhaul until it reaches a point where it just lightly touches onto the boom. You will have nice equal pressure, your sail will feel very stable. If you overpull the outhaul and you make the sail too flat, then you will feel that the sail will be very twitchy, so there will be a lot less stability in the sail. If you feel that you are sailing and you are not getting enough power out of the sail, even though your outhaul is really loose, then I would definitely release some of the downhaul to get rid of some of the twists that I have. And tiny increments, not big sections, just a tiny bit of the downhaul. You'll see that as you release the downhaul, the outhaul becomes really tight. Don't just do the downhaul and keep on sailing, because then you have got a lot more room to release some more outhaul, which gives your whole sail a much deeper shape. That's going to help minimize the twist in the sail. It gives your sail a nice big belly, and you will have proper stability, and you can take on much lighter winds if your sail is set into that low wind gear. It's really important, your harness lines, to be able to feel that those harness lines are perfectly balanced in order to get your outhaul setting correct, because your sail can really feel twitchy, and if your harness lines aren't in the right place and you are really gripping hard onto the boom and you are sailing on your arms a lot, you will never really know if your harness lines are in the correct place or if your outhaul setting is correct, or your downhaul setting for that matter. Because if you over downhaul, over outhaul your sail, it is going to be flat, very twitchy, and you'll in any case end up sailing on your arms a lot. So very beneficial to take a light wind day, set your harness lines at exactly the place where you can actually sail hands free, and your hands is only there for making small adjustments to the sail. Together with utilizing the twist in the sail and using it to your advantage, it's also very important in that aspect to have your harness lines not too far apart. So the closer together your harness lines are, the more the sail is able to pivot and breathe. So as the gust hits the sail, together with the twisting action of the sail and the opening of the leech, the sail can also slightly pivot, so that will help the sail to breathe and to let out that immediate amount of power. This is a vital skill to have when sailing over powered conditions. It helps you to take on such high winds with much bigger sail sizes. If your sail can breathe and you stay in control, you can stay locked in position, and you keep putting a lot of pressure on the fin, getting lift. Your sail, it does all the work on its own. Your body can then stay at an angle away from the sail. You've got lots more leverage over the sail, so you're much more in control and a lot less likely to fall over and catapult. Whereas if the harness lines were further apart, the sail would sort of be blocked. It won't be able to move and breathe. So in that situation, you would actually feel that you are, from your leveraged locked point, you are being drawn upwards in order to open the sail. And like I explained in my fins video, once you are up on a slalom board, you are more upright, the pressure on the fin releases, and that is brutal. That is not the situation that you want to be in high winds, because the moment you come upright, there's less pressure on the fin, so you are, number one, much more likely to have the board start walking out of the water, and also the wind can really easily pull you over because you don't have that leverage over the sail. So I hope this was really helpful, and that in your next session on the water you can think more about the sail twist and how you can manipulate your sail and your technique and your fine tuning in order to make the best out of your session. Remember to subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you guys have got any questions. Also follow me on my Facebook and my Instagram, and stay tuned for all the coming videos. I've noticed on my YouTube channel that specifically one of my videos went a little bit viral because of you guys, all your support and all the comments and amazing feedback I've been getting from you guys. So I think a lot of guys related to that video, because it is just a reality of the sport. Gear is expensive, and for a lot of people the priority is to scale down and use sails to their maximum range of wind. That's exactly the purpose of this channel, trying to definitely make the sport a lot more relatable to you guys. Some of you guys took a lot of time to write me really nice long comments on how it helped, the tips that I gave, and how it benefits you, how you are enjoying my content. So a great thank you. I really appreciate all the amazing feedback. If you haven't checked that video out yet, it's part 1 of this widening your wind range series. So I'll put up the link for you guys here so you can check it out if you haven't seen it yet.